Hello and welcome back to the Shmuseum, where I must confess I've been keeping a little bit of a secret, but today I can finally reveal what I think is the biggest thing that will have happened here at the Shmuseum since the day that we moved in about a year ago. It was almost exactly 12 months ago that we drove in with the Ford GT, with the McLaren Senna, into a space that was very different to what you see now. The collection has grown. Back then I think it was about 10, 11, 12 cars, and it probably doesn't take a genius to work out that we're eventually going to run out of space. With the cars on the museum side and the cars on the storage side, plus the cars that are currently missing and the cars that are on order, this is obviously going to be a little bit of a problem, but we have a solution. And today we're going to be talking about what is happening next, something that we've been working on behind the scenes. I didn't want to reveal things too soon in case something went wrong, but I'm very excited to share it all with you today. So we have here at the Shmuseum the museum side, quite literally, with the highlight cars. We have Max Cooper's Jaguar XJ220S visiting at the moment. We have some of the loan cars that pop up, like the Mini Electric and the Cupra over here. The F1 car will eventually go over back towards that aside. Then we have the storage. Obviously, most of the cars, we have our 4 Benpack auto stacker lifts. There are going to be a few more installed very soon, but when you take these 17 cars, you add the missing cars, so the AMG GT Black Series on its way to the USA, the GT500 on its way back from the USA, the SLS AMG Black Series that will be back from Avant-Garde in a week or two, the GTC4Lusso that we might even pick up a little bit later on, the Clio V6 restoration and transformation project, that will be a month or two, but then also the return of the Lotus Elise, the final Cup 250. We've also got the arrival of the Lotus Emira. We're going to have the Zenvo TSRS here, so 8 cars in the very near future, and then beyond that, the likes of the Ferrari 296 GTS, the Morgan Super 3, and perhaps some other little surprises. So yes, as I said, it doesn't take a genius to work out, I'm going to run out of space, but we do have a fix for it. Now, when I arrived here for the first time and I came to look at this place about a year and a half ago, about 6 months before we moved in, it took a lot of vision to work out what we could do, as it has done to work out what we're doing now. This was originally a milking parlour. We're on a farm outside of London. It's a big barn, but it didn't even have a concrete floor. It was just mud and dirt filled with all sorts of junk. Certainly no mezzanine, certainly no banners, certainly no cars, no lifts, and none of the other stuff that we have here. Not even the lighting, the security features, the bollards, the alarms, the fire detectors, and all of those kind of things. So it took a lot to even get it to this. I'd have loved to have got a little bit further, but like I said, we had a distraction which is going to make sense. I mean, this place didn't even have walls at the back there. That whole central section was open from a collecting yard. It was literally something that you could never have seen housing cars like this, and I want to make it even more special as time goes by, and that's the beauty of this channel, to bring you along to experience more. It's a perfect place for me to store my cars, to film my videos, but also to share with you the journey behind the scenes of both the cars and the garage and what's involved with it all, but always knowing that, or hoping I should say, that eventually we might have a little bit of a space problem. We might run out of somewhere to actually park all of the cars, and yes, we could stack them all up, you know, we could fit a few more down the middle, and we could have not installed the mezzanine, but you know what? That wouldn't have really been the perfect plan. So while we will have offices and we will have the lounge and we will have all of that over towards this side, with the temporary installation of the gazebos becoming more of a storage unit that runs down towards the side, that clearly wasn't going to be the, let's say, forever plan. And there are more things we want to do. There's more things along the lines of a bit of working on the cars, perhaps putting in a 2-post lift. And I thought about doing that here where we have the C-Tech EV charger, but it wouldn't really have felt right. This is supposed to be quite museum-esque, although obviously all of the cars are in use. They are dirty, it's part of using cars, but not the same as having a workshop. And this has taken me back to when we fitted the bollards with bollard security and all of that kind of thing. But I want to go for a bit of a walk, and this will all make sense. So let's head out into the sunshine, and I can start to touch a little bit more on exactly what all of this is about. You know, from outside, we're quite literally a barn. We've got our dedicated wash bay that we put together when we were setting all of this up with the new concrete and everything to have a water source. But it takes a long time to do construction type projects. It takes even longer when you're always on the move and traveling and filming different videos. But this is something as you'll work out from how long it takes us to walk up right now, that the idea formulated for, I think before we even moved in, it just took a long time to get to the point we are right now, a lot of working out, because of course it's a big commitment. We're in property near London. Property near London comes with a price tag that makes the cars, dare I say it, in some ways look almost a little bit cheap. But as we head up this way, we will arrive at another door. Not just another door, but another shutter. You can probably guess where this is going and the solution to the space problem. Welcome to the other side of the Shmuseum, our new barn space, completely opened, at the moment empty, I should say rather, but you will perhaps work out that right through that section is what I was mentioning was actually open in the early days. This is the collecting yard where the cattle would gather before being taken through to the milking parlour, and this is our new space, approximately 2/3 of the size of the Shmuseum itself. Ignore the echo, I'm aware until we start bringing things in here it's going to sound quite loud, but this is a space we can use as an area to have some lifts and do some projects, as an area to store other cars, as an area to perhaps close off a section to have it away from the camera if I ever need to have some privacy behind some cars. It actually sits a touch higher than the other side, so we're not going to be having any ramps or any lifts to bring cars across. We'll keep it divided, we'll keep it in a separate way, but we will open the doors, or rather open an area of the wall to be able to step through and have some stairs down towards the other side. We've actually got a porter cabin here with some facilities, which obviously is very welcome, so I'm going to change the design of what I'm doing on the other side a little bit as a result. But I'm seeing this as an opportunity to come up with ideas, to maybe get some of you guys involved in helping work on some of these projects and things. There are so many other cars I would love to add to the collection, and having space to do so makes it possible. Certainly when I was keeping my cars in a storage facility, each car you're paying a monthly bill to store it. It makes it a little bit more complicated. When you've got them all in one place, all of a sudden it's kind of, yeah, that's a good idea. So at the moment, we have no cars in here. We might have to pull something in a little bit. I guess it's almost a go-kart racetrack with a little electric Segway go-kart at the time being, but we're probably going to separate this area. You know, maybe we have this entrance area with 2 lifts, a scissor lift and a 2-post lift. Maybe we close this off and have a bit of a kitchenette or something around here as well, a holding room area. And then maybe we make that half much more into the additional storage. You know, this is the place where I can keep cars like the Clio, the E500, the Clio V6, and keep the supercars in the main part of the barn. I haven't quite decided how to word it all, but what you have to remember with this is it was open. You had the structure and you had the roof, but you had very little else. This has all happened behind the scenes, off camera, while we've been over there getting this ready, getting it prepared. It's been, well, a very exciting, but keeping lips closely sealed to not reveal too much before we were ready to come in. But what a spectacular opportunity we now have to take this forward, to do even more with it. It's a crazy amount of space. It's way more space than at the moment I know what to do with, but that's how I felt about the Shmuseum when we started. So welcome to version 2 of the Shmuseum. Coming back over this way then, you will start to understand some of the reasons for the different things and the way that we have actually gone about doing a lot of this. The idea was always to have a reception room, and then you would step into the lounge, so you'd have a nice place to chill out, you know, have a TV in here, have some sofas, be able to look out over the whole garage just before you have next up our halo space, which is intended to feel like you're in the pit garage at a racing circuit. You know, we'll have a print on a wall here, some nice lighting, the glass that you look through from the lounge, and that could be a visiting car, the latest arrival, a standout halo car, quite literally in the halo space. This area, you might remember a few months ago, we planned out, and I said was going to happen in the near future, to have our kitchenette and our toilets. But basically, with all of that happening, I wanted to get that up and running before we got too far ahead of ourselves with what we'll do here, because it doesn't make sense to set everything up twice. So what we've done at the moment is focus on that side. We're now going to get underway with everything that we need here, putting in ceilings, getting everything rated properly, having all of the place operational, because at the moment we can't be based up top. Then when that's up and running, we can set up top to have the offices to again feel like you've got that glass view out over the main space. We need to think about so many different things while we go about all of this, but picture where the Sega Rally is. In fact, let's come up this way just now. And, you know, having more space means the opportunity to host more visitors, to have more cars like Mr. Max Cooper's fantastic XJ220S. But we'll have the F1 here, where the go-kart and the scooter are at the moment. We'll have our chill-out area, and then just beyond, I think literally where the right of the twin arcades for the Sega Rally is, will be your small staircase that takes you up and through towards the other side, with all of this area behind the back no longer being the gazebos. The gazebos was meant to be a short-term solution. It's done very, very well, to be honest, versus spending thousands for a site container or site canteen or office type thing to be delivered. These are 150 quid each and have been absolutely spot on for giving us an office type vibe. But that will become a closed wall so that I can fill this space with memorabilia, with cabinets, with pictures on the wall, with stuff hanging, with all the different things that I've accumulated that are currently in their boxes stored away. It's one of the reasons why in the previous video we got the cabinets out here, just to feel a little bit more part of, you know, a garage, a collection. When I visited the Dare to Dream garage in Toronto in Canada, it really inspired me to crack on with this and to get things presented nicely, because it's a collection of more than just the cars. It's the collection of the model cars, the collection of the Lego, the collection of my maxi swatches, as you know, the collection of so many different things that come together surrounding the cars, that are part of it all, that you guys have seen all, I guess, grow through the years as well. So although we have over this way, just to come through the cars for a second, all of our equipment, you know, we have some nice things that Ben Pack kindly provided us to have at the garage, like the quick jack, like the dollies and things. And all of this can be part of our workshop side. I think that's one of the really fun things, to do a little bit more of this ourselves with the team, to also have an opportunity for things. And this is something you wouldn't necessarily think about. When the Zenvo is here, obviously Zenvo are a boutique hypercar manufacturer. There are not exactly hundreds of cars out there in the world. As I've mentioned, mine is the first UK one. That means, of course, that at this moment in time, the way that it gets serviced and maintained is that the team from Zenvo actually fly to the car. They travel to the car with everything that they need. If we've got a two-post lift here, they can service the car here. How cool is that? The car doesn't even need to go anywhere to be serviced. The technicians will come to it. So that kind of thing for me is super surreal. Some of the collections I've visited over the years, that's been the way they're set up, and I always thought that would be like a distant dream, but now we're basically arranging that opportunity here. So it's part of a big picture, shall we say. It's a big picture with a lot of things that we've been trying to link up and line up and work out and think about how we're going to do it exactly. And you know, one thing, for example, by putting in the auto stackers here, if we have another car, as we had recently with the Hennessy Mammoth, a huge beast, that doesn't fit so well. We've now got a whole full height space to keep it. And maybe down the line, we put in another mezzanine somewhere. There are so many ideas that I can't say too much about until we're ready for them to all come into fruition. But if you remember what this was like at the beginning, and you compare it to what it will be like when we've got the two sides all set up and running, it's just, I can't quite believe it. I can't quite believe that this has actually happened. This is actually a thing, but it's totally amazing. It's like every time I walk in the door, it's a complete pinch moment. And you know, we need to think behind the scenes now about all of the, as I said, alarms and that kind of stuff. And there's so much more to construction than you think of normally, because if you just park a car in a garage, you don't touch on this, but like different zones of the alarm system and the bells and how it's all connected and how all of that works, and the cameras and all of the angles and all of the setup and all of the behind the scenes, as well as all of the behind the scenes with the cars. And with the collection growing, currently in excess of 20 cars, yeah, when there's a bit more space, there might be some more things arriving. That's a nice little bonus, isn't it? Hello.
Hello, Tom.
How are you?
We're allowed in the video now.
We're allowed in the
we're allowed in the video now because the exciting news has been revealed.
It has indeed. We are now going to take an estate to go pick up a shooting brake, because the Lusso is... We don't know if we're coming back here or if we're going somewhere else with it, but we're going to go and get it.
Yeah.
Step one.
That's the fun of it.
We're taking the TRX, right?
Thanks.
We don't need to go far, but that would be like £50 of petrol.
And the rest?
Probably more.
Oh God.
Anyway, I do need to get some bits out so I can steal the key back from you.
can have the key.
I'm going to go and do that.
You drive the TRX.
You guys outside.
That doesn't like a car.
It runs.
Okay, here we go. I don't know who's driving today. I assume probably Tom. Is Tom driving today?
I might drive.
You might drive.
It'll be more gentle that way.
Savage.
Bad space.
Yeah, savage. Savage Tim mode. We like Savage Tim mode. Yeah, into the 500. Time to get the Lusso. Let's get on the road. All I know is I'm calling shotgun. Mainly so I can charge my phone and the USB thing we have. Let's go.
Yeah. We're doing a clip, aren't we?
Oh, Tim. We're doing a clip, yeah.
Right. Keep it facing forward a second.
Why?
Because I'll do the are we there yet?
No, we don't do the are we there.
We're not doing that over there because the clip's already started. You can do it now.
It's not a very long drive. We're just going into town. Yeah. What's Tom doing?
No, it's what Tom did.
What did Tom... I don't want to know what Tom did.
I'm just wondering, I don't know if it was seen, if it wasn't seen because I've already fixed it. But it might have been seen. Yeah.
Can't trust that guy. As the truck, watch out.
Okay.
It's okay, we're not in a McLaren.
Yeah, we're in a Mercedes. Same thing.
And it wouldn't...
What?
It wouldn't be a very expensive...
It's not the same thing, this works.
Tom's in savage mode again. The last two videos he's been so savage, and the last one you've missed out on a lot of savageness because I cut it out.
Yeah, we've got a different Tom this week, don't we?
Okay, why don't you take your Senna for a drive?
Oh, is this our friend in front of us?
Yeah.
This guy spotted us in the E500, which people spotted us in this, yeah, like fair play.
Like, this is
meant
under
to be
the radar.
Yeah, literally. This is meant to be the inconspicuous vehicle that people are still spying us.
It's quite funny when you drive. Funny, different words. Obviously, driving completely different cars. Sometimes driving this, sometimes driving a Senna or an SF90. The way that people behave differently to you on the road is ridiculous.
Yeah.
In this, people are much more like pushy towards you and
Oh, we know.
get out of the way and that kind of thing.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas in those kind of cars, people generally will give you more gap unless it's the kind of person who's adamant he wants to swear at you and be a so-and-so.
Yeah.
It happens. The mileage is on 146,146. So we only have 3,854 miles to go until we're at 150,000, which will be quite fun.
Or if Tom has anything to do with it, probably about a week.
As we go past IKEA, by the way.
Yes.
We could have just brought this and McDonald's, but it was much more fun bringing the Mammoth.
And we might have overfilled this, so we needed to bring the Mammoth just in case we bought too many things and they wouldn't fit in here, right?
Yeah.
I think this is better in terms of space than we're perhaps giving it credit for there.
Yeah, but it's still no Mammoth. I mean, the key is in the word, right? In the name. It's
Mercedes E500, Mammoth.
yes.
They're two very different things.
One's noisier and guzzlier and taller and bigger and
Speaking of noisier, I see a lot of you guys in the comments are quite unhappy with my idea of putting an exhaust on this.
Yeah, that didn't go down particularly well.
But I think I did at one point jokingly use the term straight pipe, which isn't it. My thoughts are more just a subtle enhancement, so you actually hear the noise rather than just wind noise and tyre roll. So, trust me.
We're almost at Topaz. No, we're not at Topaz. Where are we going?
We are going to Acton
Coach Works. That's the one.
Who work closely in the nearby Topaz and have done a few things for me in the past, and they're...
The instinct here is just we get to this part of
And it's just
London and it's like, oh yeah, Topaz and H-Row and Ferrari, but yeah, on our way to Acton to pick up the Lusso. F12.
Yeah, nice.
They don't want to look at me.
No, they're looking at the F12. That was rather nice. We're nearly there, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
a few minutes away. Lewis in the back of a truck.
Must be unloading to be worked on somewhere around here. Well, actually, I know where, because we're right next to the Lamborghini service centre.
Very true.
This area is just being built up like you wouldn't believe. These skyscrapers go
Yeah, lots of
very
these weren't
quickly.
here the last time I came down this way.
Yeah.
Just down here, we have on the left H-Row and service, Lamborghini and a few other bits.
So, did you see the C180 AMG Black?
I didn't.
Urus
Speaking
pulls
of
out.
Urus, there's another one.
Rolls Royce, anyone?
Yeah, there's just
yes, please.
Was that an
everything.
SE30 SVJ? I just saw a Viola SE30 SVJ.
That's
and a blue and gold STO.
what wheels are those on there?
Nice.
STO.
There's an SE30 SVJ in there. That looked cool. How am I going to squeeze in here?
Ooh,
I'm just going to...
Oh,
that's a nice GT4.
Nice.
That is lovely.
Good spec.
That's a nice Ferrari GTC4Lusso.
That is a nice GT4Lusso right in front. Right, should we go and
Let's go
find
say
it?
hello.
Over here there's obviously a few cool cars, especially with H-Row being there. There's an Abarth up here, which we like
You
those.
would spot.
Of course. But then even cooler, arguably,
100% cooler.
We have a Fiat Panda 100 horsepower.
Which you might think we're being silly here, but this is such a fun little car. I'd actually love one of these.
So would I,
Yeah.
honestly. They're just really cool. And look at the plate.
I think it's something we may have to look at as a future project car in this museum.
Cheap, fun.
Yeah,
Something
guys, let us
a
know
bit different.
What you think? Do you know what this is? Would you think we should get one? Because these are actually brilliant fun. They really are. I mean, 100 horsepower in a Fiat Panda. There you go, 100 horsepower.
So
and this
cool.
one's obviously, by the looks of it, got some Bilsteins on it.
I say we put a 1.4 turbo bath engine in.
Do you think it has?
Oh. This, maybe.
So, 2 questions. 1, do you think it has? 2, do you think Tim should and then do that?
Yes.
Right, Lusso time. Let's start this. Oh yes, this car sounds fabulous. It should hand me my seatbelt.
Here it comes.
There we go. 17,000 miles now. We'll have a proper look at what was being done in
We need some aircon, Tim.
Yeah, we do. Push all these vents. Push the vent away from you.
That away.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
That's good.
Okay. I think it's all in my position still. Nice.
Barely going to hear us. Just because it is aircon noise.
Aircon plus V12.
But we're in, believe this or not, it doesn't look like it. We are in 30 degrees weather once again.
32 it says on here.
Yeah, 32 degrees, but it looks like it should be about 4 with this rain, so yeah.
Let's head out, work out where we're going. I think I can get around here easily.
We'll make it work.
It's actually tighter than I would like.
Not ideal. We'll make it work.
Yeah, don't leave a body shop and
Oh, look.
immediately need a return to the body shop.
No, exactly. And there is the beast.
This is quite fun. First time we've driven with our 2 wagons together.
And seen it on the road.
I'll turn this down, yeah.
There we go.
It's funny, isn't it? You kind of need the aircon blowing that aggressively, but
Yeah, to talk on camera does not really work when we're doing that.
oh, I love this thing. It's such a nice car. Such a nice car. I'm talking about the Lusso, by the way.
Yeah, I assume so. And you get a big old V12 in it, which is always great.
That's all thanks. The seat on. No,
Yeah, let me check mine. Oh my god, mine's on 3. Or have I just turned it on?
I think you just turned it on.
Oh, maybe. Okay,
I
never
think
mind.
it's okay.
Panic over. Right, so we're off towards Topaz to see if we can just drop it off in the area for them.
Yeah,
So
that's
see
the
if they
plan.
can take it.
Because it needs a few extra bits of PPF, so the plan is to take it to the Kings of PPF, straight to Topaz, and then we'll be able to show exactly which bits I'm talking about when we can hop back out of the car. Suits you.
Thank you.
Like it?
I love it.
Feel at home? Best car in the world.
One of the best cars.
One of the best cars in the world.
It's not quite a GT8 or an SF90, but it's close.
Fancy seeing you here.
Aren't you that Shmee guy?
Aren't you that guy that made him do it?
He's Tom the car dude.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
He loves that thing. You're that guy that revs in traffic.
Quiet revs, gentle.
It's not, you win that one.
Yeah.
Not much beats a Ferrari V12.
As cool as states go, this is cool. That's slightly cooler.
This is cool.
That's very nice. Satin black SF90, a Satin Fiorano Spider. Ah, I know that car.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, they do look good on the road, don't they?
The cars you see around here are nuts.
Well,
having HRO in and Topaz and everything
Lamborghini
else
that
around
way,
here.
Ferrari this way,
Yeah.
Topaz this way. You're just in like heartland of cool stuff.
And if by magic, another Ferrari.
488 Pista, bang on cue.
Quite a nice spec actually, red with white stripes. You don't see white stripes on cars very often.
And again,
Oh, look at this.
812. No.
No,
Portofino, sorry. I should get my eyes checked. Oh gosh.
Portofino.
Oh gosh.
Oh, and another one.
That
It's on a truck.
truckloads of Ferraris everywhere.
Yeah, that was quite good actually, I'll give you that.
Yeah, a truck with truckloads.
What did we have?
of
Was it a
Ferraris.
Pista? Or was it a F8? There's another Pista. The land of Ferraris over here. And other things if we go for Topaz. We which I'm sure there's something interesting outside, as usual.
The main thing about this is that you might remember when I bought this GTC4Lusso, the PPF at the front had quite a lot of bugs and rash basically, because it had been driven, it had been used, it had done 10,000 miles. And part of the agreement when I bought the car was that we would redo the PPF. Before taking it to do that at Topaz, I figured it would make sense to make it perfect, especially after we did quite a few thousand miles at high speed on the Autobahn, and these areas, these plasticky, or well, they're not, they're actually painted areas, had all taken a beating. These were battered and abused, and you can see even my number plate here is actually cracked from the stone chips, so we'll be changing that. But as a result, I got a few things done, things like the parking sensors and stuff at the front, and we need to redo the PPF to make it all look magical and perfect again. So we've had a bit of paint work done, we've had those areas fixed and replaced, and now we're going to get it PPF'd to make sure it's looking wonderful again, because the cars, while they're all driven and used, they need to look immaculate, they need to look lovely. That's, I think, a big part of it. For me, and we're actually going to be leaving it here. We were going to drive it back, but given it doesn't have PPF on the front, it's just not worth the risk. We're going to leave it here with HRO and Ferrari. It's going to go to Topaz, which is just around the corner, and then we're going to bring it back when it's fully PPF'd.
You should see his face. We've made it back. Come on in. We're going to bring the first car in. We have actually had a car in, but the first car in on camera at least. So yes, welcome inside. I'm going to open this. We're going to get the shutter rejigged because at the moment you have to hold the button to go up, but it's nicer to always have a one touch up. So eventually we'll get this open up enough so we can have the dance of the E500. And no, we're not going to be doing donuts, burnouts and other stupid things inside here because I don't want to ruin the floor. It's a nice workshop floor at the moment, so we'll make the most of it. I think a car inside gives more of a perspective of the size, makes you realize that this is actually a big old space. You know, if we were going to nose to tail cars in here, you'd probably get like 7 or 8 wide and 4 or 5 deep. Yeah, you could probably get 35 or something cars in here. There's a lot of space. Yeah, not bad, not bad. But you know what else we need? Give me a second.
2,000 years later.
Whee! Well, this works when you've got a bit more space and you can do it safely. No? Is this decapitate your boss at work day? That was good fun.
Are you done now?
Maybe. Brad is normally found crashing go-karts.
Point proved. Like, we were that far off again. That's how you ended up bleeding last time, mate.
Oh, Brad. Well, this is random. We need to make an actual course. To be fair, that was a good skid. That was a good skid there. Oh, that wasn't bad. End of the misbehavior for now. Out goes the E500.
Am I allowed to leave how Brad just did?
No. Brad did a little burnout type thing with the scooter. So we get this shut down. I'm gonna change maybe where the buttons are and things. All of that stuff to think about when it comes to a new space. But yeah, it's amazing to think, as I said earlier, that not all that long ago, this was open and certainly would not have been inhabitable for cars. So it's quite a different setup. But yeah, we'll lock it all up for the time being and look forward to what's happening next. That needs a wash. What are you doing? What is going on? This just looks dangerous. Guys, my liability policy doesn't extend that far. We haven't got as far as putting together some more of the cabinets that we picked up when we took the Mammoth over to IKEA. I need to get that done because there's some more Lego that needs to be assembled as well. But now you know a little bit more about the plans for the Shmuseum, the next chapter really, version 2, you could say in some respects. Obviously this side still needs a lot of work to be done. And I've alluded to this a little bit before now, but to build this whole mezzanine office lounge construction as I would like it, the entire cost of the whole thing is literally akin to buying a fairly nice new supercar. Something like a Ferrari 296 for example, to give you a perspective of construction being a lot more than the price of the cars. Obviously, expanding before you could say we needed to expand is quite a big commitment, but it's making the most of the opportunity, knowing we had the ability to take that space behind, and from this side, obviously, you can think about exactly where it is, and it gives us some room for creativity to think about what we would like to do and have that ready for the time when we need it. Obviously, I could squish a few more cars in here. We could have some lifts on this side as well if we wanted to, and we would get everything in here, absolutely no problems. But it's fun also with what we can bring to you guys, the kinds of content that we can create, the opportunities that come by having some lifts, by having a bit more indoor space, and generally just expanding, I suppose, the operations as we start the second year of the Shmuseum, in this case, the Shmuseum V2, almost, we could say. Obviously, a lot to be done, a lot more than I could have perhaps anticipated before we actually began this whole project, but it's a very exciting project, and if it takes a while to get it completely right, I don't mind that. I don't mind that in the slightest. It's fun to share with you the real behind the scenes. This is really what it's like. You could often just say, here's a couple of million quid and you're going to get exactly what you want, built and done over a couple of year period, but then you'd just be revealing it, and there it is. Whereas I think it's more fun to learn myself about everything from security cameras and lighting to mezzanine to rules and guidelines of what you can and can't do and all of that, and it's a huge amount to try and take in. And the first time doing something like this has genuinely been fascinating, but it's so cool to have the cars parked up like this, to be able to hang out here, to have the chill out areas, to have all of the cars around. And I often can't quite believe it's real, and I definitely can't quite believe that we're already expanding and becoming even more space to be able to do different things. So do let us know if you've got some cool ideas for what we could actually do next door in terms of productivity, utilizing the space that we have. But I think down the line, we might be seeing some more interesting projects. Some cars that I would have loved to have bought at the time, some cars that perhaps we can try and bring back to their former glory if they're not in the best of shapes, some cars that, well, who knows, maybe one day we're ending up trying to rebuild a car that's seen better days. I'm not sure how well I'd be able to do that, but the guys probably have a pretty good idea more than I do. Anyway, for today, I think that's all. A reveal of the next step of the Shmuseum. Until next time.